Friends, in Universal Book Club, I like to illustrate how God speaks through all authors of new books and all reviews of the new books. If you just look at the titles, the captions, the quotes, a paragraph here or there, you capture the essence of the stories, the age-old stories that God has been telling us human beings since the beginning. These are what we call words of wisdom, history lessons, eternal truths, universal themes. So let's just go there from today's books in the Wall Street Journal. Mark Twain, a most American writer. With his granular lyricism and rough-edged transgressive humor, he gave his voice to a nation. Twain's penchant for exaggeration was a hallmark of his style and the basis for his wit. Folks, if you just read this review, you learn so much history, or relearn it, right? Next, perfect communities, domiciles by the dozen. Facing a post-war housing crisis, one developer saw a mass-produced solution. Critics derided the uniformity of Levitt's houses. Residents had a very different view. Now to Five Best on the Big Band Era by Elizabeth Rosenthal, an author herself. Let's first quote Billie Holiday. Up in Harlem, in every flat, they gave it that zing, which, according to one and all, is what they called swing. Then these five classics: Swing, 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 Swing in the Dream, Swing Air New York, Ella Fitzgerald, Satchmos. All good stuff. Next, Proto, the talk of ancient writers. The language of a nomadic Asian people is the likely source of many of our words today. Interesting. Now, I'll do a deep dive on this one later, but for right now, these two. I am part of infinity, free creations of the human mind. Let's quote Richard Feynman. I don't know anything, but I do know that everything is interesting if you go into it deeply enough. Einstein's work on the nature of the universe prompted many to seek out his views on faith in hope of a cosmic insight. The fun thing here is God teases us with science and all these kind of things, but there's no way our minds can capture the miracles of the universe, the wonders of the universe. We can try, and it's fun trying, but it ain't going to happen, all right? And God reminded us through Christ on the cross, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they're doing, even bright scientists like Albert Einstein. All right, next, a remembered soldier, uneasy resurrection. An amnesiac soldier thought lost in the carnage of World War I returns to his former life, now unrecognizable. Story of a murder. The stage was set for horror. The trial of Holly Crippen turned on his dead wife's jewelry in a terrible discovery. Back to music. The Yardbirds, the reign of the guitar gods. Wallace Stevens said, music is feeling then, not sound. Well, it's both, right? The Yardbirds had hit singles with For Your Love and others, but it was their live act that threw fans into a frenzy. Tequila Wars, when blue agave turns to gold. As a distillery owner, Jose Cuervo built a tequila empire. He kept his own profile low. This is a classic by Solzhenitsyn, republished by Notre Dame Press, March 1917, Stumbling into a Revolution. Jean Le Carré said, the more identities a man has, the more they express the person they conceal. That is true, right? For Solzhenitsyn, the collapse of Russia's monarchy was enabled by the Tsar's weakness. And then finally, the illegals. When your neighbor is the enemy. Hey, when you consider that we're all family of God, family of nations, families. No, we all have experiences where our family members, our neighbors, might be perceived as enemies. Anyway, let's go there. The Soviets responded to their diplomatic isolation by placing long-term agents in the West. Again, you just see these eternal truths just looking at the captions of these book reviews. If you want to read the book, go into it. Yeah, read it, but you're going to forget the details. Yeah, anyway, let's enjoy.